Hello and welcome back to our channel. My name is Francisco and I work for Virtual CNS. And we're here to show you a little bit about emails and domains. And we're gonna talk about exactly the steps that you have to take as a business owner in order for you to get started, to get actually a website, to get a domain name, which is pretty much the first phase of the process. And also, we're going to talk about emails. What kind of options do you have out there? We're going to talk about DNS as well. So let's get started. What we're going to say initially before we get into some details is, you as a business owner, you do have to have, or is typically very highly recommended, in order for you to have a proper environment, a proper business organization, you're definitely going to need to have some basic elements, okay? In today's world, you do need to have an email address, you do need to have a website, you do need to have a DNS name or a domain name in order to have the basics. That's pretty much to get started. Once you start getting all these basic components, with these, you can actually build your website. You can actually build a list of email addresses that are going to be used for daily interaction and for you to market your business in the internet. Okay, so in this video, we're going to show you what is a DNS or domain name and how you can actually use that domain name to create an email address or a list of emails, and also to have a website as well, and how you can actually get started with the website development. So the first thing is first, we're going to talk about domains. So for example, obviously, I think everybody's pretty aware of how the internet works these days, but we're still going to show a little bit about the basics is, okay, how do you have a website and what can you do with the website, for example, as far as the components and elements that you can actually establish in your organization. So for example, we're going to go to Amazon, okay? When we go to Amazon here in this URL, we're going to try to see if we can actually make this a little bit bigger, or we're going to try to focus in here. I'm going to position this in here. This particular DNS, this is what we call a domain name. Okay, Amazon.com, for example, is a domain name. It's a domain. It's a space in the internet that is already reserved for this company. Now, what do they use this for? When you actually type Amazon.com, what you're doing in reality is you are connecting, okay, internally to what we call a DNS server. That DNS is going to translate the name into an IP address, okay, and then that IP address is actually used for the mechanisms of the servers to actually connect and be able to know where it goes. It's like an address, okay, like a street address. It knows where to go to actually get this information, which in this case is the actual website that you're seeing right now, all this design. So that's the name, the domain name is really the description of your company in the internet space, okay? That's the very basic. We're not gonna go into the details, of course, of how it works in the back end, but this is gonna be a space available for you to own and for you to be able to manage your website and your emails among all the components and services that you can have available. So for example, if you are a business owner, you do need to have a DNS or domain name first, okay? You go, for example, here and you type, okay, I wanna my name or my domain name to be CNN.com. Of course, we already know who CNN is, and it's most likely what is gonna get back to us is this domain is already registered, okay, as you guys can see here. So at the end of the day, what you have to find is a name for yourself. You know, what kind of name is my business? Let's see what is available out there. If you're going to use a .com, .net, or pretty much any option available out there for you to actually register. So, for example, let's assume that you are your company. Your company is going to be Michael, and let's just Michael Store. Okay, michaelstore.com, for example. So again, you have to find the alternatives to what domain is actually available. Here on the right side is suggesting that, of course, michaelstore.com is already busy, but in here, maybe you want to consider these options, michaelstore.cc or .info, for example, and then it's going to try to show you more options available depending on your category and also what is it that you're looking for. Once you establish the domain, once you purchase the domain, you already have it. This domain is going to allow you to go to the next step. What is the next step? The next step is for you to have a server where your domain is going to be managed, and then this server is going to give you two basic components. It's going to give you, it can give you, if you want to, a website, and also it can give you a email address. Okay, so those are the two basic components. There's other things that you can do with the domain, but we're going to start with the basic to get started for the business, for the basic components that the business is going to need. Okay, so once you have the domain, let's say, for example, you want to actually now have a website and also have an email address. That's where we're going to go and talk about hosting environment. What is a hosting environment? It's another component, another server service that you need for you to have accessibility to a website, accessibility to emails. Okay, we're going to show you two examples on how you can do that. The first example is office.com. Okay, if you get your domain, okay, so for example, you got this one here, michaelstore.cc, then you can actually configure this once we are helping you through the process of getting office.com. You can add this into your office.com setup. What does this mean? That as soon as you have this, when you go to your Outlook as an email provider, as an email access, you're gonna be using your own domain. You can select and create an email list, okay? So for example, I can have, in this case, I can have, for example, Francisco at michaelstore.cc. So what this is gonna do is you are actually buying an email address in your own domain. You are creating an email address within your own domain organization. In this case, it can be any name that you choose at, and then your domain name. And that you can do through office.com, Office 365, okay? Once we help you through the process of setting this up in the backend, you can utilize this environment and be able to manage your email list as well, okay? That's pretty much the first option. The second option, if you wanna go with maybe something more basic and you don't believe you need really Office 365 available to you, you can go with this, for example. This is a very basic cPanel configuration. It's a Linux service, it's a hosting environment that we can also provide and set up for you. And this gives you a lot of tools available, especially for emails and also for web design. This is a hosting environment. It's a server that can host both services. So for example, if we go to the section here, once everything is configured, and we click on the email accounts, you're gonna see that you can start creating emails yourself. We can create these emails if you want. If you don't have the knowledge to do this, we can help you through the process, and we can walk you through the process on how to get the server, how to get the service, how to configure the server, and then be able to create and have this interface so that you can actually create, for example, your email address. Okay, in my case, it's going to be francisco@virtualcns.com. Obviously, you can do pretty much any combination that you want. You can put numbers, whatever you want, whatever you think is going to be ideal in your organization. You set up an email and password, and then you decide how much is going to be the store, the space for that particular email, and you click on create. So what I'm giving you in this case is just an idea of what are the options available for you. You can go with the very basic cPanel configuration, or you can go with an Office 365. We encourage you to go with Office 365 because you're going to receive a lot more benefits. The cPanel is going to give you a lot of benefits, but are going to be basic services, just a basic email, a basic email interface, and then it's going to give you also the ability to host, to design your website, and also be able to host those files within the server. Okay, but Office 365 is going to give you a lot more than that. Now, both options are available to you. You decide exactly which ones you want. There's many other options available out there, but in a sense, these are the two options that are the most popular one. You go with the Microsoft type of application, but you can also go with a very basic cPanel that is just going to give you emails and nothing more than that. Okay, and that's pretty much all. The third component, like I mentioned before, is once you have the domains, once you have the email address, obviously you want to design your website. For example, if we go back here and we type, for example, virtualcns.com, in our case, this is the design. All this information right here is actually in our hosting server, okay? We design this, we make it available, we publish this in a hosting environment, which we show you here in this section. This is where the files can be hosted, depending on your design, depending on what is it that you're trying to do in this case. So you have this. Now, the domain that we purchased before now can give you access to promote your website, and also this domain can give you the ability to create your own email address for communication and even marketing purposes. And that's pretty much how it works, you know, from the very basic standpoint. Let's put it that in a way. Now, to finish the conversation in this video, what we wanted to mention to you is that some business owners out there, they get started and they decide that they don't want to spend any of this money on this initially. We have seen this before, and they go maybe with a Hotmail account, or maybe they go with a Gmail account, and they go maybe with an Outlook.com account. Those are free email addresses. If you go, for example, to Gmail, and you're gonna put in here free emails, they go with this, okay? You can do that, okay? And you can and you go here and you register an account, and then you're done. Now, is this convenient for you? No, okay? Because at the end of the day, think about this. You have an email address and you have a domain. If you want to be able to actually run a proper business, you need a branding. You need a marketing aspect to this. When you're a business and you're promoting, for example, your business out there to the world, and you start giving them, for example, if my email address will be francisco@gmail.com, this is not going to look too professional to them, and they're going to start questioning if your service is really the best service to go with. So we don't recommend to go with that option. You're going to be saving some money, but in reality, it's going to give you actually more trouble, and it's going to actually become more challenging for you to really grow your business. So it is very highly recommended for you to have a proper and professional domain, and also an email service, and also a website service available for your business. Hopefully this helps. We're going to create more videos into what we're going to explain in more detail how the email works, how the process for a website works, what is the process for developing a website as well. We, as a company, are providing the services. We provide the service for hosting. We provide the email service. We provide also the design for your website if you're interested in something like that. Just obviously, as you know, let us know. If you can send us an email to info@virtualcns.com, and our team will be happy to help you through the process. Thanks again for watching this video, and hopefully we'll see you soon. If you like the video, you can always like or subscribe to our channel. Thanks again.